Hello, this is Matti again, and this time I would like to talk with you a little bit about practicing rhythm guitar playing. And first of all, the tools that you use to practice are pretty important. It's quite important to keep your ear on the details, so a very compressed and high distorted sound is not gonna be good for practicing, even though that might be what you end up recording or playing live with. A little easier or lighter distortion and maybe something with single coils is gonna help you kind of pinpoint the small details in your technique that you want to work on. And a simple guitar like this is a perfect vehicle for improving your rhythm playing. It has no frills, nothing to hide from, and nothing to hide behind with. And in a way, it has been said that Telecasters are gonna point out every mistake you make. In my experience, it feels that a junior is gonna be even worse at that, or better in this case. It'll respond with everything you put into it, nothing more, nothing less. It's not gonna pull your weight around. You're gonna have to work yourself. Well, enough jabbering, I think. So this is the example tone that I've set up for this practice session. So that's a light overdrive as opposed to something heavier. Let's put the metal zone on for a second. So that feels very much easier to play. Light distortion like this. That's gonna make you work for the sound. Yeah. You can use any kind of overdrive you like. Yeah, so the first song that we're gonna practice on is Master of Puppets, and forgive me if I'm playing some of the parts a little wrong, because this is straight from memory. But let's start with the main riff and go on from there. I forget the rest, but I think you get the idea. What I did here to help me find a suitable sound, so I put the volume on full and I put the tone control a little down to kind of simulate a more humbuckery type sound as opposed to tone on full. So that's a little bit bright for me at the moment, at least it seems. And this is gonna bring out all of your playing nuances, like instance, let's play this riff. So you gotta be pretty careful to give a kind of constant tone and attack for the whole section for it to sound powerful, especially in this setting. You certainly learn to kind of appreciate the little breaks like here. Every little minute break like here gives your right hand a moment of respite and some chance to recover. I think you could play it like using alternative picking, or alternate picking, whatever you want to call it, like going up and down instead of down picking. Like if you play it like this. So you can hear I'm struggling to get the constant sound out of it and a constant attack. And this kind of highlights why they probably are going to play it down picking all the time. It's a little bit easier on the right hand in a way, but man, it's gonna be hard to sound consistent on that one. Really, really hard. Another thing I'd like to point out is that when you start practicing that stuff, you're gonna run into a temptation to play too fast, and that's gonna kill your speed in a moment, or that's gonna make you run into trouble before soon. Like if you're starting out like. Starting to feel the burn definitely there, and mistakes start coming up, and you don't want to repeat the mistakes. This is practicing, remember, not performing. You want to keep it consistent, get a good tone, and really hone in those details and make good repetitions, so that will be ingrained in your muscle memory, and that will be what you play when you're performing. Okay, something a little different for the next example, and I'm gonna play some classic stuff from someone who used to play and still plays a guitar that's of this shape. And we're gonna look at a different approach to project Heaviness with a slower song, Into the Void by Black Sabbath. And here you have to remember that in Black Sabbath there's only a drummer, singer, bass player and a guitar player. And Tony Iommi was making it sound really, really heavy with just basically P90s and a whole lot of fuzz, I guess. But we're gonna use overdrive again, the same sound. This will work for practicing very well. And again, focus on the details. You really have to kind of let every note ring to make it sound heavy. Otherwise it's gonna sound weak and less powerful. So enough jabbering. Let me try if I can do it. So not cutting it today. Let's try again. 1, 2, 3. So I'm gonna leave those mistakes in. This is practicing, and you could kind of see that I was getting a little too enthusiastic and I rushed it. And rushing is exactly not what you want to do in a tune like this. It has to be like crushing, slow, threatening, that kind of stuff. You can really project that when you're playing the intro riff, like. Yeah, those little vibrato. But if you're playing too fast or kind of too sloppy, you never get to hear that kind of level of detail. And actually having just one guitar is gonna be like conductive to hearing and using those kind of small details and nuances. Every mistake you're gonna make is gonna shine like crazy. Everyone's gonna know that you made a bad one. The main riff is a really good example of the crushing tone and attack when you go slow enough, like. Really threatening. Yeah. So, a couple of riffs that you can use. Some recommendations. Play slow enough. Maybe it's better to start with Into the Void instead of Master of Puppets. Not sure. This is also a good order because you kind of use your best energy in the faster song, and then when you're tired you can kind of start working on the physically little bit easier song. Another takeaway that I'd like to point out is to use a light overdrive instead of a heavy distortion, because heavy distortion adds compression and that's gonna help you play. But remember, even if your main tone is gonna be heavily distorted and compressed, it's gonna feel so much easier after you have practiced like this. Yeah, you could try also singing along to the songs. I didn't do that today, but that's a good way to kind of get it ingrained or get it really into your muscle memory how the riffs go. Yeah. About this guitar, like I did a bad one. I went to the local guitar store and I was kind of intrigued about this junior, like, what is it about these guitars? I've heard some good examples of really good sounding ones, and I tried this one and it was like, holy Moses, this is like crazy good. It's, listen to how well it rings even without amplification. so really resonant, and oh man, it feels so good to play. It's hard to kind of project or kind of communicate to you how it feels like playing an instrument like this, but they did really well in the Gibson factory on this one. Yeah, you don't have to use an expensive guitar like this to practice, though any guitar will do, but I would say that having something single coily would be conductive. If you don't have that, that's no excuse to stop practicing or starting to kind of save up until you have enough money to buy a gear and then start practicing. That's like, no, just use what you've got. But anyway, I'm starting to digress a little bit. Yeah, maybe a little more on details on this guitar later on, but I just couldn't resist the temptation to use it. Also because I have been practicing the rhythm guitar parts using this axe, and I felt that this would be a good idea to make a video about it. I think that's about it. All that I wanted to cover here is being covered. So I don't know if anyone's watching this. If you do, that's fun, and I really appreciate it. So everyone who is watching, thanks a lot, and see you next time.